What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of CryptoZombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having an awesome day today. Yesterday, Bitcoin had an amazing move. We were all the way down at around $11,200. We had a crazy spike to $11,725, and yet today we've pulled back down to the $11,300 level. Now, I don't actually think what happened yesterday and now is bearish at all. I actually think it was really healthy, but I want to talk about something specifically today, and that is the fact that if we actually have a look at the Bitcoin chart, the monthly chart, the macro Bitcoin price movement, we are still in fact moving in an ascending trend. However, we are reaching some of the most historically critical levels for Bitcoin, and that is right around that $12,000, $12,500 level. If you actually look above me right now, you notice that the VPVR, the volume, basically drops completely off a cliff. There is virtually no price discovery for Bitcoin above these levels. This indicates that things could get incredibly volatile. We could have insane Bitcoin price swings coming up both to the upside and to the downside. Now, super quick talking about what we had seen during the 2017 bull rally was we had seen multiple 30%, 40% pullbacks during Bitcoin's greatest price appreciation of all time, right? So even during that insane bull run, we had 30% pullbacks. And I do wonder, as bullish as I am, and I'm probably one of the most bullish people out there on Bitcoin, I do wonder if we will see that last final shakeout, that 30%, 40% dip just to spook everybody last minute before the insane rally. That is something that I do want to discuss today. Now, of course, I'm not saying it has to happen. Keep in mind, I do want to talk about the fact that Goldman Sachs pretty much came out and told their investors to start shorting the dollar now because of all the dollar printing and basically everything that's happening right now with the geopolitical turmoil and the elections, the uncertainty and all that. So that may actually have a positive effect on things like Bitcoin and gold as well. And also today, we have news. Now, we know we had MicroStrategy investing, we had Square investing, and now we have Stone Ridge Trust revealing a 115 million Bitcoin investment. And this could be the beginning of this major trend of these enterprises, these companies, jumping ship from traditional assets and moving into Bitcoin as that hedge. I want to talk about that. Also, we do have an upgrade coming for Bitcoin. I know, right? Very rare, but we do have a Bitcoin Core upgrade, a little bit privacy. You might be interested in that. Also, the fact that NFTs are not over with, my friends. I believe this is just the beginning. They could be going mainstream very soon. I actually have two stories about that, as well as one sort of negative story. We do have the Spanish government coming out now saying all crypto holders, you have to disclose your holdings or else. So today's video, lots of information, jam-packed. There's tons of news today. So we're going to try to keep it short, but there is a lot to go over. So stick with me, grab a cup of coffee, sit down in a chair, whatever you need to do, but we're going to hop in and let's start as usual with the charts. Now, we did have a pullback, but interestingly enough, we right here, so far, things could change, but we have had a bounce back right here at the bottom of where we were having this accumulation for this sideways. It was sort of a flag. It kind of was a pennant depending on how you looked at it, but right here, we are seeing that support. So we have had a slight bounce, but keep in mind, we have resistance at around the $11,400 level. So if we're not able to get above that VPVR, we may look to potentially go down and fill the gap like everyone was talking about yesterday, which would be perfectly fine. You can see right here on our ascending channel, perfectly dead smack in the middle, kind of saying Bitcoin could go either way. However, anywhere between the purple lines, and believe it or not, I know you don't want to hear it, but falling down to around 9,800 would still be bullish, but we could potentially get up to that $12,800 level. Now, I do want to talk about the fact that we were talking about filling the CME futures gap. We dipped into it yesterday. However, today, we perfectly wicked down to the top of the level. So as we said before, gaps don't necessarily need to get filled. The fact that we attempted to fill it, came down, sort of filled some of the mid area, that could be enough short term. Now, of course, there is that potential chance of a big correction, which I'll get to in a minute, but you'll notice right here, we still are at the top of my bullish box territory on spot. And I was pretty much saying, as long as we're above this level, it's really around the $11,000 level. things are still looking extremely bullish for Bitcoin, right? Anywhere in this blue zone, above this blue zone, or if we actually sort of, extend this previous resistance down to here, really even if Bitcoin just was to bounce down here for a little bit before moving up, that still shows that previous resistance is support. That is still bullish for Bitcoin. However, as I said, we are approaching an extremely critical level for Bitcoin. There are not many candle closes above this level on the monthly. In fact, we've only closed above this level once, twice, 3 times, and that's it. So 3 times in Bitcoin's history. And you can see we do have resistance from the wicks coming down right here, and that is around $12,200. And you could see from right here above me, if you have a look right here, the VPVR right around the $12,000 level right here, it completely falls off a cliff, which means Bitcoin has barely spent any time above these levels. There's really not a lot of price discovery. There's not a lot of resistance, support, areas of interest. So it really is just a toss-up as to what could happen. I mean, we had seen Bitcoin right here closing out the month of November at around the $9,800 level, and the next month we got all the way up to $20,000, and that was in just a month. That was in just 4 weeks. So things can get extremely crazy for Bitcoin. Now, one thing I do need to point out that Willy Woo mentioned was the NVT ratio. He says measures Bitcoin's ratio of investors' activity to capitalization. He first described it as Bitcoin's equivalent of a PE ratio. Now, he says if we look right here, presently, NVT is at an undervaluation, levels equivalent to COVID-19 white swan price bottom, and he says that this is very bullish. But as I said, here's another example. You could see not a lot of price discovery above those levels. Now, the things that we can mention is that every time we've come down here, we have retested right here. In August, we retested the top of the wicks resistance. Right here in September, we retested the top of the blue box territory. And right here, so far in October, we also have retested the top of the resistance where the wicks touched, right? So there's still a lot more things to be bullish about than to be bearish about. But as I said, there are still the opportunities for crazy 40%, 25, 36, 36, 31, 38, 38, 30, okay? These were all the major dips, and I think there was another one right here, 40, right before we got to the all-time high. So if you are a new investor, I just want you to take caution in this because it still is bullish, okay? As long as Bitcoin is putting higher lows and higher highs, everything is fine. Nothing goes up in a straight line. I can't stress that enough, okay? Now, let's talk about how Bitcoin could potentially be bracing for another major move to the upside, and this comes from Trading Shot. Now, they're saying this has to do with the incredible amount of Tether that has been printed, and you can see right here. Now, some people say, oh, well, they're just printing Tether to prop up the Bitcoin price. That's a theory, but also, if it's in demand, if investors are actually looking to trade their dollars for USDT, then that you have to also take that into consideration as well. And they're basically saying that it has increased by more than 50% Tether since August of this year. They say there's been a significant increase in crypto buying power, and such power has not been reflected yet on the price. They point to the fact that historically we have seen the change in Tether's market cap usually followed by Bitcoin price movement. So they do give examples of when we've seen in the past Tether actually decreased in value. We saw Bitcoin have a massive fall. They said it fell 46% in 2018 and Bitcoin had a 44% plunge. On the flip side, May 2019, we saw a 30% increase and Bitcoin surged from 5,700 to 11,350. In both of the instances, Bitcoin was a lagging response. So we had Tether's Tether's market cap moving up first and then Bitcoin's price following, right? So that's one thing to consider. And since it is up 50%, we really haven't seen the Bitcoin price increase relative to the printing of the Tether. So that could signal that there may be another big move. Also, price generally goes into a bullish trend on rising on-chain smart money accumulation. So they do give examples of November 2018, the 6K level. We saw it fall to 3K. We saw massive money accumulation around the 6K level, 3 to 6K level, and then we had an extreme surge of Bitcoin generating a 2x from those levels, right? Now, something else we need to talk about. So you had Patrick Husser, I think his name is. He's a senior cryptocurrency trader at Crypto Broker AG, and he believes that there is scope for a bigger bullish move in the near term. In fact, he says the probability of Bitcoin rising to $14,000 from the current levels is stronger than the odds of a decline to $10,500. So think about that. That's actually pretty good in his opinion. Supporting his bullish case is the open interest on trading futures. According to Skew on the chart, global open positions have increased to $4.3 billion. This is the highest level seen since the beginning of September, and futures trading has doubled to $14 billion on Monday, which was yesterday, to the highest levels seen since the end of September. So those all point to the fact that Bitcoin may potentially surge. Maybe we won't have the 30 to 40% dip. I would just be careful. Maybe I've been super scarred from the volatility of 2017 and 2018. Maybe we won't have those dips again, but I get a little bit worried when I see us getting so close to that break point, so close to that $12,200 level. And I know how important it is, and I know how significant it is. Do you really think these whales are just going to send it without one more shakeout? I'm not bearish, but it could happen. Now, one thing that is positive for Bitcoin is the fact that Goldman Sachs believes that risks arising from vaccine trials and uncertainty of the U.S. elections could weaken the dollar. The investment bank recommends to short the dollar right now as they see low odds for the dollar to have a positive outcome by the end of this year. If the US dollar continues to lose its grip, it could mean that safe haven assets like gold and Bitcoin could gain significant bullish momentum in the final quarter. Goldman Sachs is predicting that the dollar will be headed into negative territory in the fourth quarter, and they do suggest maybe buying back after you're done with the short trades. They say, in our view, a blue wave U.S. election and favorable news of the vaccine timeline could return the trade-weighted dollar and DYX index to their lows of 2018. And as you can see from this CoinDesk article, I'm not going to go into it totally, the headline reads, Bitcoiners have trillions and trillions of reasons to ignore U.S. election. So what they're saying is that, the outcome of the next election, regardless who wins, who doesn't win, the economic stimulus in the trillions of dollars is likely to happen, and we know that every time we have massive amounts of dollars flooding the markets, we see assets, stocks, Bitcoin, things like that go up. People look for places to put their money, right? We even saw that when we had the $1,200 stimulus check come out from the government last time, Coinbase purchases for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, exactly the price of $1,200 was like the highest it had ever been, right? So, I mean, come on, you could call it a coincidence, but I think not. I think it was correlated, in fact, right? So here is the big news. Now, we've seen Square invest. We've seen Saylor. He's a Bitcoin bull. We know that, right? And now we have Stone Ridge revealing a 115 million Bitcoin investment as part of their Bitcoin dollar spinoff. Now, what is this all about? Well, 3 years ago, the founders of the $10 billion Stone Ridge Asset Management had a problem. Stone Ridge needed a way to turn the dollars they wanted to invest into Bitcoin and to safely store that crypto once they had it. And since they were personally invested in Bitcoin, they needed to do it in a way to not only satisfy their clients, auditors, and regulators, but also themselves. So, fast forward to 2017, that vision had evolved into the New York Digital Investment Group. We'll call them NYDIG, okay? The first Stone Ridge subsidiary that isn't wholly owned by the parent company. That year, they quietly raised $50 million in a previously unannounced investment. Based in New York DIG spent $50 million the $50 million that it raised in 2017 to build out the execution and custody services they would need to manage a rafter of custom Bitcoin funds and to acquire 2 cryptocurrency specific licenses. So the 2 largest funds currently managed by them are the 190 million Institutional Bitcoin Fund LP, disclosed in regulatory documents in June, and the 140 million Bitcoin Yield Enhancement Fund LP, disclosed in May. In February, New York of 2019, New York DIG and Stone Ridge executives wrote a lengthy analysis called Buying Bitcoin about the struggles of real-world money managers looking for significant Bitcoin liquidity. The 22-page report concludes, for now, that today's Bitcoin market is dominated by retail investors and speculators. a lot has changed since then. We can actually show you that there is a lot more institutional investment now. But from the report, given the agents, fund managers, trustees, and other fiduciaries control the vast majority of the trillions of dollars of investable assets in the world, they concluded, we expect material institution purchases of Bitcoin as these agents work their way through the challenges of this burgeoning asset class. And fast forward to today, what are we seeing? Well, first of all, we're seeing 115 million Bitcoin investment on their behalf. We're seeing MicroStrategy investing a portion of their portfolio. We're seeing 1% from Square, and this could just be the beginning. In fact, I know today's video is a little bit lengthy. I told you guys we had a lot to go over today. Hopefully you're sticking it out. You're not getting bored yet. We have Alexander Lebedev. Now, he's the owner of UK newspapers Evening Standard and The Independent. He's a billionaire, by the way. And he said that, well, he wrote an extensive 1,800-word opinion piece published in his paper, and he predicted that blockchain tech will disrupt what he describes as a parasitic global banking oligopoly, asserting that blockchain technologies and smart contracts will make it unnecessary to employ the vast majority of people in the financial sector. Now, talking about DeFi, talking about people saying DeFi is a bubble. All of this was just a bubble. Well, some of it was. Food coins were certainly a bubble, right? High yield, farming, probably. But looking forward to some of the most important aspects of it definitely have to do with the DeFi. As far as the NFTs are concerned, right? Actually forgot I had this super quick thing. I just wanted to let you guys know that in the next version of Bitcoin Core, they're going to support Tor Network's V3 addresses. So this is for Bitcoin. A lot of people say, well, Bitcoin doesn't really ever get any upgrades. It does have some improvements. It's going to be better with cryptography, leak less information, and gossiping is going to allow nodes to tell other nodes, hey, I know of this cool Tor V3 hidden service that runs a Bitcoin node. If you ever have a need for another node to connect, you may want to remember this. So there, had to say that. But let's get back to the DeFi thing, because Terra Virtua, okay? These guys are a blockchain-based digital collections company, and they just recently released NFTs based on the Godfather movie trilogy. You're probably saying, what's the big deal? Who cares? Well, I'm going to show you why this could potentially be the trigger for some of this mainstream adoption of NFTs. In fact, they're actually already giving a nickname to NFTs, and now they're just calling them Nifties. Like, nifty. Like, isn't that nifty? Which is kind of a cool way of shortening it, right? So maybe in a month or two, we're not going to be saying NFT. We might just be saying, hey, man, let me trade you my Nifty for your Nifty. Sounds dumb now, but it could catch on. Anyway, this follows the company's release of Godfather posters and other non-digital products. So it's the first time that the Godfather has been officially licensed for blockchain tokens. It's an interesting example of how Hollywood can get into blockchain technology. Hollywood has taken quite a big hit lately with the fact that no one's going to movie theaters anymore, right? So we are seeing the shift to digital. Why not also shift other things to digital? Gary Bracey, the CEO, he says, our core mission is to bring NFTs to the mainstream. The company's Godfather NFTs are presented in 3D and incorporate animations and audios in some case. According to Bracey, all of the items will integrate perfectly into their 3D ecosystem to provide a more immersive and engaging interaction between users and their NFTs. They go on to say blockchain technology isn't only changing the way we think about finance, but we can also expect Hollywood to embrace blockchain as well. For example, a movie could be funded via tokens. This is actually a logical option for the future of movies, as we've seen a dramatic hit on cinema, like I just said. Specifically through NFTs, movie companies have a lot to gain. It becomes a two-pronged proposition for them to license. Firstly, it can obviously generate significant incremental revenues for them. And secondly, once the market is big enough, it can seriously supplement their marketing activities. And if you don't think that this isn't just the beginning, we have Jose Delbo of DC Comics teamed up with crypto artist Trevor Jones to produce 4 NFT artworks. The release will be of Batman from DC. And, Delbo says, more and more, it feels like the future is digital. And while I believe there will always be a sure place for physical art, I have really been enjoying creating digital art for this space. So Yeah, I mean, like I said, yeah, you do have that DeFi bubble, you do have that DeFi boom and bust, but you have these aspects. You do have certain types of decentralized finance, right? That are going to survive, that are going to be the winners, that people are going to use. I just don't think we're going to be farming pickles. That's all I'm saying, okay? You can't really farm a pickle, you farm a cucumber, but you know what I'm saying. You then pickle the cucumber, you guys know what I mean. Also, we do have a quick update for everyone out there checking out Definer. They have recently had their launch and they did announce their Uniswap liquidity provider program, their LP program. So they say the purpose of this is to ensure better liquidity and better prices for trading FIN, the token, in the DEX. The LP program will eventually allow FIN to be bought and sold easily with sufficient liquidity and low slippage. The program will provide an estimated APR of about 60%. So could be good, right? The FIN swap pools are currently live, by the way, and token holders can enter the FIN contract address in order to provide liquidity or trade on the platform, or you can directly visit the FIN Uniswap pool. So this liquidity provider program is a chance for the Definer community members to earn FIN by providing liquidity via Uniswap version 2. The more liquidity you provide and the longer duration that you provide the liquidity, the greater the share of the FIN from the invested pool. So I just wanted to point that out. And also, this was really interesting news. I know, so much to talk about today. So, you know how we use the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index a lot on the channel? And it kind of helps to tell you the sentiment. Usually when it's like really fearful, you want to buy. And when it's really greedy, you want to sell, right? Well, now we have Cody rolling out a decentralized crypto market volatility index. Now, you know there's the traditional VIX, right, that people look at. Well, they have the CVIX, which is basically crypto VIX. I think this is really interesting. So the CVIX is explicitly designed for decentralized finance. The index is created by These are decentralized finance. See what I'm saying, guys? These are the types of things that we need to focus on, not like farming yams and things like that. The index is created by computing a decentralized volatility index from cryptocurrency option prices, and it utilizes, you guessed it, Chainlink as an oracle, as a source for required financial data. So the CVIX is similar to the stock market's VIX index, which indicates the level of implied volatility or investors' expectations of how volatile the equities would be over a specific period. So traders can hedge themselves against potential rise in market volatility by taking a long position in the CVIX, or vice versa, right? It's initially going to support trades and deposits in Ether and stable coins, and then they're going to add more eventually. Similarly, just so you guys know, traders position for a spike in volatility by employing option strategies such as straddles, which is a simultaneous long position in both a call and put with the same strike prices, can hedge against market stagnation or low volatility periods by taking short positions in the CVIX. And not to mention the fact that, we are seeing a lot of these decentralized futures, layer 2 protocols, derivatives, they're all coming to the space. Uniswap, I think, proved, even though yes, Ethereum gas fees are a little bit high, that this is not over for DeFi. You were actually seeing decentralized exchanges completely surpassing centralized exchange volumes, which was showing the ease of use and the interest. So I was using Uniswap. I still do use Uniswap, right? In fact, if I can use Uniswap, I prefer to use that over a centralized exchange. Although I will be honest, I'm not too happy with the slippage, but what are you going to do? So 2 more stories. Stick with me. We're almost there, guys. Number 1. Now, this is sort of not the greatest news, potentially. This comes from Bloomberg. They spoke to a spokeswoman for the Spanish government, Maria Montero, and she announced that owners of crypto assets will be forced to disclose their holdings and gains. This is over in Spain, right? The draft of this law was first submitted in 2018. Now, back then, according to Bloomberg, the tax agency of the country demanded that financial companies disclose the names and trading data of those who regularly acquire and trade crypto assets. The initiative was to prevent potential tax evasion and prevent money laundering done with the help of digital assets. Now, the word has spread that the Spanish government does in fact intend to make crypto owners reveal their cryptocurrency holdings and gains received from trading. Although really, how are they going to do it ultimately? I mean, at the end of the day, does anybody really know what anybody holds? I mean, it's not like your name is attached to a wallet, right? Wallets are just out there in space. Really, anyone could have any Bitcoin wallet. Yes, they're pseudo-anonymous. You can tie them to an individual, but at the end of the day, can you really trace it? Although you shouldn't lie to the government, you should pay your taxes, etc. But at the end of the day, it's pretty hard to enforce this. But ending on a positive note, one more story, one more little bit of positivity. I did like this story. So a former cruise ship built by P&O Cruise Australia is to receive its new statute. Built in 1991, the Pacific Dawn will reportedly maintain in seas. However, it has a brand new name, Satoshi. That's right. Plans are it will be an exquisite hub for digital nomads, entrepreneurs, and crypto companies, and they're dubbing it the Crypto Cruise Ship. So the cruise ship will offer an option for residential vacation rentals, including areas designated for research and office space. There will also be access to various amenities on the vessel, including bars, restaurants, lounges, fitness centers, and casinos. The commercial spaces will be reportedly operated by individual companies that might get interested in living and working abroad. So, you guys still here with me? That is all the news for today. Lots of stuff to go over, lots of positivity. Although right now people might be freaking out saying, oh no, the Bitcoin price, it's getting rejected. Well, we're actually still bouncing around right here. And you can see we are hitting the top of the previous resistance. And that's where we are right now at the time of making this video. But as I said, I do think that there could potentially be one final shakeout. I'm not saying there has to be. I'm not saying there will be. I'm just saying be prepared. But I have a feeling the next time we breach and get above and have a nice solid daily or even more bullish a weekly close above that sort of $12,200 level I showed you earlier, well, you might as well strap on your, backpacks and get ready for the moon because, man, I think the Bitcoin price is going to absolutely explode. So I'm looking forward to one more opportunity if we get it. I got, you always have a little bit of cash set on the side just in case, just so you could scoop it up, right? Yeah, but that's it for me today. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think that I'm delusional? Do you think that we're not going to have the 30% dump? Do you think that we will? Do you think, are you super bullish right now? Are you neutral? What are you doing right now? Are you loading up on the altcoins? Not 100% sure we're back in alt season just yet. Could be good to accumulate. Once we get back into a full-blown alt season, I'll let you guys know. We'll talk about some good opportunities. Right now, kind of just keep an eye out, accumulate on the guys that you like. But I think right now, a lot of eyes, most eyes are on Bitcoin. So that's where we're going to be focusing. If that sounds good to you, you know what to do. And yeah, if you're new, get subscribed. Also, drop a comment. Ledger Nano S. We give one away every single Monday. That's it for me. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. If you guys want to join my free Telegram group, it is in the description. Hang out, talk crypto all day. That's it for me. Thank you for coming back. My name is K-Dub. This is CryptoZombie. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.